I am Jeff Biggs, and I am the host of the Cowboys Squad Show. I said this was a gut check game for the Cowboys, and they responded. They answered the call.
I'm Iisha Morrison, and this was a huge game for Dallas to stay in the running in this division. They are now in second place, and I think that matters moving forward. So, go Cowboys.
Glenn Stretch Smith, Cowboys a half a game ahead of the Redskins. I'll never say Commanders.
How about them Cowboys? It's the Cowboys Squad. Everything Dallas Cowboys every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from America's team the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Cowboys Squad Show, starting now.
Well, that is how you do it. That is how you respond and bounce back with a win, as the Cowboys did this afternoon, whooping the Commanders 44-22. The final score probably could have been worse, but it's okay. 40-plus for the offense, a much more improved performance for the defense. And as Iisha said, big win overall in the standings. And as Coach said, hey, they took care of business within their division, and here we go. Welcome to the Cowboys Squad Show. It is great to be with you on this Sunday afternoon after a Cowboys win. Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Well, I don't think you could have asked for a better start than what we saw from the Cowboys today. Offensively, to set the tone for the game, really, I think, took some pressure off the defense. And, we were wondering, a lot of talk during the week about how the defense would adjust or what they could do to try to calm things down a little bit. And, just so many good storylines in a good win today for the Cowboys.
What you got, Coach?
I like when you go first. I hold the door open. I'm old school. Here's the thing. I know you guys have heard me say this, but when you become comfortably uncomfortable, sometimes that helps you. I've heard Nick Saban say at times, sometimes you got to get beat in order to really access and know who you are. And so I think we can say the Dallas offense has played all year. We can say, Dak made great throws to Pickens. We can say Williams got, rushed for over 100 yards. We can talk about the offensive line. At the end of the day, they played man coverage. They got up and got on guys. They played with great leverage. And guess what? They got after the quarterback a little bit. So that's not anything new, but it is new when you have to get out of your comfort zone. And obviously, Matt Eberflus had the opportunity to get out of his comfort zone. He's been the talk of the town, the belle of the ball, whatever you want to call it. But he had to get out of his comfort zone and call some man coverage and call some different blitz looks, some different add-on one situations. I'm saying where you're bringing five, and at times you got kind of a guy that he looks like spying the quarterback, and then he just adds on in a blitz situation. So good for Matt Eberflus, good for this defense. They needed a good, a attaboy, pat on the back, swat on the ass, whatever you want to call it. That's what the defense needed, and that's what they got today.
Yeah, I think you start with the beginning of the game. Dallas, the tone was kind of set where Dallas went down and scored. Defense forces a punt. Washington comes back. There's a safety. And then Washington's able to score then. And then from there, the defense, I think they forced 4 punts at the beginning of this game. And I think, to your point, Coach, some of the timely blitzes, I think Flus did some safety and nickel blitzes. Also, too, you mentioned, those guys being able to play more man. Coming into this game, you lost Trayvon Diggs very unexpectedly, them having to kind of adjust from that. And what came out was that they decided to put Bland back in the slot. Elon was on the outside. And then I want to make sure I say his name correctly because I don't want to mess it up. It's kind of weird the way it's spelled, but Bridges, if I'm not mistaken, was playing on the outside. And I think really what helped in the start of this game is Deron Bland played phenomenal in the slot. And I think once we go back and look at the film, that's something that helped you out as well. But to your point, Eberflus definitely made some adjustments, and I think the defense had a belief, they were played with a lot more intensity today. They seemed a lot more sure about their keys. I thought that Murray had his best game of the season. And some of the things he was doing from coming from depth and playing the linebacker position with his hair on fire was what we've been looking for. So all in all, it seemed like the defense was just more confident in what they were being asked to do today.
And I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, and what I liked was when they were playing man coverage, if you go back and look early in the game, they were leveraged correctly.
Yeah.
Playing heavy inside leverage, not allowing guys just to run through the middle of the defense. And guess what? Murray got called one time. I think he got on Ertz maybe a little bit late. But you know what? I want to see that. I don't want to see guys running through the middle of the defense. They come run through there, they smack their ass. And guess what? They're not going to come running through there with the same sense of urgency the next time.
Yeah, no, and then also too, a little bit of a shakeup in the safety room with Wanye Thomas being out with a migraine that he had all week. At first, I was like, "Dang, he had a migraine, he ain't playing," and then I was like, "Nah." Somebody told me like, "Nah, migraines are no joke." So maybe him not playing means something, but you got to see Marquise Bell man that safety spot, and I thought he tackled well today and made some good plays. Like I said, I just felt like the defensive speed and intensity, and from my understanding when it comes to defense is that when guys play fast, that lets you know that they know what they're doing. And I think that's something that we saw today. And then coach talked about the leverage. That's something that Brian Schottenheimer broke down in detail this week. The idea of leverage, making sure guys aren't too soft off the line of scrimmage for these receivers. And I think that was something that they emphasized this week, and we got to see it in the game today.
Yeah, so walk us through that, Coach. Was that a case of finally Matt, in layman's terms, Matt Eberflus kind of saying, "Okay, I need to come up with something here that will allow my players to play well," not instead of focusing on the system, focusing on what he can do to help the players succeed and play well?
Yeah, I mean, I think you heard Trayvon come out a week ago and say we don't have an identity. We don't know who we are. We're just kind of we're just kind of out there. And guess what? They were. I mean, they did not have an identity. And all of a sudden, I think when you challenge players, and a lot of times it causes them to dial in. I'll make an example out of Elam. I mean, I thought Elam played really well today. I mean, he got a ticky-tack crap call on that last curl route. He sat there and sat right on it, and it broke up underneath it. And, I mean, you're going to get some of those calls, and I get it. It's an offensive game, and they have rules to favor the offense because they want fantasy football people getting points and yap. But at the end of the day, I thought that the secondary, and I don't care. Don't tell me, well, McLaurin was out or this was out. Hey, you know what? I don't give a damn if there are 10 soldiers out there. If they're at least playing the correct leverage and they're breaking on the football, that's what I care about. Those are the things, because when you start to get a little confidence at that position, now it kind of spills over to the rest of the defense. And, I mean, I love seeing Bland. That ball sat in there forever that Mariota threw, and I was so glad to see Bland break and get under it and go. And those are things from a confidence standpoint that you want to see the defense do.
Absolutely. And I think that's a big part of it, is that we've seen a lack of confidence in what these secondary players, to me, have been being asked to do. You predominantly have guys who have thrived in man coverage. And I understand that you do got to mix in some zone. I understand that matchup wise, you are going to have to run some zone sometimes. However, if you have guys that really need to feel the game, which is who I think when I think about a Deron Bland and those guys, Yeah, I do think that gave them some confidence, and I felt bad for Mariota because it felt like he was just trying to get that ball out of bounds.
Yep.
But he didn't put enough on it. And I mean, to your point, coach, about Bland breaking on the ball, that also made me feel good because Bland has been dealing with foot injuries since last year. And a foot for a corner that likes to drive, that likes to make some plays on the ball, that likes to really be at the catch point and physical at the catch point, you wanted to see him have that confidence to do that again. And I think today we got to see that a little bit. So I hope that it helps moving forward. And him being in the slot, I think helped you. I think it helped you today with some of those crossing routes and some of the stuff. He tackled his ass off today, also too, in the intermediate to flat parts of the field. And I just think that's where he operates best as a corner.
I mean, they all rallied to the football. I mean, I really thought you saw a defense play with a little juice. And I'm going to tell you, I think they played with juice because they got to play some man coverage. I mean, you know, and again, I don't want to hear about who the receivers were. I want to hear about the fact that they played with the correct leverage. They rallied to the football. They made some plays, got to the quarterback some. Those are all, I mean, they're all things. How many weeks have we gotten on here and talking about how bad it is? And guess what? They did it today. And so, yeah, I understand the offense played well and Dak continues to play well and running back ran his ass off. Yeah. I mean, all that is great, and that's true. But, I mean, we have, and this is the coach in me coming out, we have ripped this defense, and I have openly ripped this defense, and they needed to be ripped. Yeah. And I'm going to send them an invoice to pay me because I'm the one that ripped them, and now they're starting to – maybe they're listening in a little bit. So I just like seeing when you do get on guys – from this side of it, when you're on this side of the microphone, when you have to come over here and talk about it, hey, be sure and be the same guy to put your arm around them when they do good. And guess what? They did a hell of a job. And you know what? I hope when they go in there or when they went in there 30 minutes ago, I hope they give the damn game ball to Eberflus because he's a guy that deserved it.
Yeah. Also, too, I mean, from the defensive line standpoint, it wasn't always pretty. But I thought the edges played the run better today. One of the biggest things coming into this, one of the biggest things that coming into this game I was worried about was Jaden Daniels' mobility and his ability to sneak out the back and make you pay. He did have a couple of first downs, but he really didn't affect you on the ground too bad. 8 carries for 35 yards. He did have a touchdown before he got injured, but I think that Dallas contained pretty well because he's one of those guys that he will scramble. And I believe that I saw Flus have a spy a couple of times, which again is outside of his ordinary. You know, he's doing some things that, you know, we've been asking him to do, especially in reference to some of these mobile quarterbacks, and he adjusted. And then when you talk about the defensive line, I thought that they were able to get some good interior pressure. We talked about some of the blitzes that he brought off the edge, kind of attacking that young rookie tackle, and also their left tackle as well, Tunsil. I mean, they really took advantage of him in certain spots. So like you said, Coach, I just thought the game plan was smart and the way that they decided to attack it, and the guys executed it. Your linebackers played better today as well.
Yeah. And I thought too, like I said, I thought Clowney played really well. Clearly the game plan was, hey, we're not going to let them run wild. We're going to at least try to stop the run. If they can make some plays, so be it. But good. I felt like the pressure improved as the game went on. I thought it was, they stepped it up at the right time. And even though Jaden Daniels went out in the third, I like the fact that they didn't allow them to score at all in the fourth quarter. Just a little.
Well, they played. I mean, let's be honest. Dallas played some 8-9 man boxes, but I don't care. Yeah. That means you're manned up outside. I don't care who was chosen, whatever his name was, and who. I mean, I'm not trying to badmouth NFL players, but you know what? He challenged those guys, and then he just said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to get up here and stop the run." Yep. And we can think about, okay, well, they set the edge, and yes, they did. Guess why? Because they had 8 or 9 up in there, and they were bringing the damn cavalry. So those are all good things. And now, you know, you think about going to a game next week and playing Denver. Guess what? You've shown now that you can play some man coverage, some 8 and 9 man box. And guess what? Those are all things that Sean Payton's going to have to work on. And I'm sure he's got a gut ache after. Did they lose to the Giants?
No, they came back.
No, they came back and won
They
that
came
game.
back. They pulled it out.
Good for them. Good
seconds.
for them. Good for them. So that's perfect for the Cowboys to go in there and get a win from that bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well
no,
said.
yeah. Dallas on the ground today. They held Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt to 13 carries for 33 yards. This is a guy that has been running the ball pretty well. This is a Washington offensive line that got back their right guard, Cosme. And they were confident coming into this game that they were going to be able to move this ball by running the ball on the Cowboys. And really what happened was that the Cowboys offense just really put pressure on them and they couldn't run the ball like that. Like, yeah, you can try to, but they were playing keep up almost from, middle of the first quarter. And that's the pressure that you put on their offense to have to score. Also, too, there were some times where Jaden Daniels, the pocket wasn't collapsing. I mean, he had time back there. The pass rush wasn't getting there, and he just wasn't delivering the ball well today. This is one of the more poor performances I've seen from him from an accurate standpoint. And if I'm being honest, I feel like last year, you can correct me, Coach, if you watched, he struggled even against Zimmer's defense against Dallas. And so I maybe he just got a thing coming here, and maybe he just has a thing where he doesn't play well, but it just wasn't as efficient from him. And then there were some key drops from his receivers and stuff like that. And Dallas's offense puts a lot of pressure on you to continue to score, and they just couldn't keep up today.
Yeah, I mean, you those are all good points, all fair points. I don't think he's healthy. I mean, I'll say that number one.
Oh, I agree at this point.
I think he's still he's wearing that knee brace, and anytime you're wearing that brace, guess what? That brace goes into your mind, and hey, he did miss some throws, and but those are all things that it's out of your control. Just go play. And does Dallas all of a sudden have some damn rolling ball of butcher knives pass rush? No, they don't. But guess what? Today they look like the damn 85 Bears. So pump them up and get them to where they feel like they're doing some good things. Did anybody get a report on Kenny Clark? Iisha, did you hear anything?
Yeah, he was it was an elbow. I think it's something he's been dealing with. I believe he has a brace on it. He came out for a few snaps, went back in. He finished the game, so that's encouraging because we don't have the room to not have him playing. So I was glad to see him get back on the field. Him and Osa Odigizua were able to get quite a bit of interior push this game. And then you saw Jadeveon Clowney. He was able to kind of cut inside a few times and get some batted balls. Like, I thought he used his length well today as well.
Hey, he looks like a guy that's been playing football a couple of weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
He looks like all of a sudden he's comfortable. I mean, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're comfortable wearing your helmet and your shoulder pads. You're comfortable now. You can do all that working out and all that running, all that at the end of the day. He looks more comfortable. I saw him stick his foot in the ground, change direction one time. Comfortable. I saw him bat a ball at the line of scrimmage. So all of a sudden now he's seeing the game with his eyes a little bit. So all those are good things. Everything that I saw today, seriously, everything that I saw from the defense today, plus, you got to put your arm around those guys and tell them they did a hell of a job.
Yeah, even Matt Eberflus was fired up. He was fired up on the sideline.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah, that's good. All right, when we come back,
guess what they hear? They hear.
Yeah,
they can act like they don't hear and they don't read all this stuff. They can act like all they want. At the end of the day, they hear. They know what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right. Well, great performance by the defense. When we come back, we're going to shift gears and talk a little bit about the offense and a welcome back to CeeDee Lamb. What a nice return for him. I don't think we knew he was going to come back, but that was sweet. A lot of good offensive headlines. We'll get into those when we come back. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right, I want to talk to you about Rippling. And if you're a business owner, and here's the truth, SaaS promised to make work easier, right? But now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS, that's sad. software as a disservice. And that's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They've helped billions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. And whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or just kind of fill in the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. So right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. Learn more at Rippling, RIPPLING.com/LockedOnNFL. That's rippling.com/LockedOnNFL for 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. And we got to talk to you about Prize Picks and what they are doing as well right now, because with Prize Picks, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day, we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. So don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley's rushing for a touchdown, and you are in the game. So, plus they have this new injury reboot feature. If your player leaves early and doesn't return, it won't count against you. So, download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Okay, welcome back to the Cowboys Squad Show. Iisha Morrison with two eyes and former Cowboys coach Glenn Stretch Smith. All right, 44 points today for the offense. A welcome back to CeeDee Lamb, who went off. Another 3-touchdown game for Dak. George Pickens had some phenomenal catches and just a great game as well. Even Javonte Williams went over 100. And even Jaden Blue had, I think, his best outing with a couple of really good runs. And Jake Ferguson continues. He's a catch machine. So, and the offensive line, too, was all back together. So, like I said, a lot of good pluses for the number one offense in the NFL right now.
Yeah, Dallas's offensive line, I think, had a little bit of trouble earlier in the game, dealing with some of Washington's interior pressure from Quan Martin and Deron Payne. They were trying to, I felt like early in the game, they were trying to attack the edges, which is what I thought they would try to do in this game, and that the Bears saw a lot of success with. They weren't able to get it done there with some of the pull-in and stuff that they were doing. So they just decided to go back to running duo, and Javonte Williams did the rest with his vision and his ability to always continue to fall forward. I think the quarterback is just seeing the field at a insanely high level right now. And one thing that Brian Schottenheimer said this week that stood out to me, because there was some concern on what's going to happen when CeeDee Lamb comes back, are we going to go right back to, this is all CeeDee Lamb's offense? Like, what was the balance going to be between Pickens and CeeDee Lamb? And Brian Schottenheimer reassured us, the media, that was something he was going to be intentional about, and he kept his word. He came out, they game planned. CeeDee Lamb was hot earlier, and then Pickens had the bomb plays. I think that they're really interchanging their usage really well. And it's having a true X really just is opening up the field in a way that we haven't seen Dallas be able to have the field open up for them now. So when you got a guy that can attack deep like that and to really threaten deep like that, the way he does with Pickens, then the rest of the field just becomes a little less crowded. And that's why you see some of this yak yardage and guys being able to get upfield and get some run after catch. So I just think the quarterback is playing at a really, really insanely high level. 6 passing TDs, no interceptions on the year, just an efficient year from him.
Yeah, he really is in control of this offense. You can tell I would be willing to bet you they meet on Friday, he and Schottenheimer, and he may even throw some things out that he doesn't like. They may get thrown out of the game plan. I'm sure it feels like everything that right now that Schottenheimer is calling that Dak is very comfortable with. And so that's a big part of what's going on with what's happening offensively. As far as the receivers, I mean, you got to pick your poison, what you're going to do in a secondary. And by the way, it's not a great secondary, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to say that you have to decide what you want to do from a coverage standpoint. And then guess what? You better account for this running back because they can run the football. So that's what makes the offense really right now tick, is you got a quarterback who absolutely is comfortable with the game plan, with what's being called, with how it's being called. He's in control of shifts and motions. I mean, you don't see a lot of pre-snap penalties. You saw one time when Pickens cut his split out there and they had an issue with an illegal shift. That's going to happen from time to time. But what you always see Dak do is move guys, get the shifts and the motions. I mean, I don't see the play clock, you know, where I'm sitting on the couch going, snap it. I mean, you don't see any of those situations. He is in total control of this offense. So, I mean, they got depth. They have depth, number one. That's the key thing, is they got depth at tight end. They have depth along the offensive line. They've got depth at receiver. I mean, you saw Turpin get in there and he flip it out to him. And
forgot to welcome him back.
He stuck it up there for about 18 yards. So, I mean, all of those things cause you as a defensive guy to constantly be shifting and saying, hey, look here, look over here, watch this, watch for the screen, look for the draw, over the top D. I mean, you got so many weapons, and I love that that's the mindset, is go score 37, which is what they scored minus a pick six. Go score that every week, and I got news for you. You'll be where you want to be at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the play caller and the quarterback seeming like they're on the same page. Listen, I have watched most of Dak's career very closely. Outside of Scott Linehan, and obviously Dak was just a nugget then, this is the most comfortable I've seen him in any system he's been in. And I think that this has a lot to do with Brian Schottenheimer. I think it has a lot to do with how multiple the offense is, which is something that Brian Schottenheimer said he wanted to be. You know, Coach, you brought up the fact that you can't if you load the box, we're going to beat you on the back end. And if you decide to drop more guys in coverage, we're going to make you pay by running the ball. I mean, Dallas has not had that balance of being able to run and pass the ball. It's been a while since they've had that. And so I really think the quarterback is comfortable because the play caller is willing to, like you said, Coach, listen to what it is that he feels comfortable doing and is allowing him to thrive in doing that. Dak Prescott's numbers in play action have been high every single time, every year that he has used it, but we've had previous play callers who did not use it as often. So I think that says a lot about it says a lot about him and Brian Schottenheimer's connection. And I'm just at a point to where I trust the head coach. I trust the play caller. He's going to get them in the right things. He's going to have them ready, because the game plan definitely was to attack that secondary. They're going to run the ball. Yeah. But they definitely knew that they were going to be able to attack this Washington secondary that has been struggling. And they started off doing that. The aggressiveness, at the start of the game, like, don't play around. Let's go down here and score. Let's put some pressure on these guys. And I think Schottenheimer understands that as a play caller.
Yeah, and then Dak, maybe twice the game, right, sticks it up in there and gets first down for you with his legs. I mean, I don't want to see him major in that. I don't want to see him start running a damn zone read and him keeping it out the back door. I don't want to see that. But what I do like seeing is one or two times a game. I mean, he did it down there today when he stuck it in the red zone right there, and he didn't slide. He was very aware of what the down and distance was. He was very aware of where it was in the game. And guess what? He took advantage of that. That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Aisha, I
think that
think you
that's
said
a
that. I'm sorry.
go
I
ahead.
think you called for that. I think it was last week. You had said you wanted to see him maybe run a little bit more when he had the opportunity, and I thought he did today.
Yeah, I think that that's something that, it like coach said, we're not looking for him to, have design runs and all these things, but if he sees grass, I think this year we have seen he's a lot more quick triggered when it comes to doing that. I feel like he has been hesitant, a little bit more hesitant, especially
Yeah,
coming off of that injury that he had the last couple years. And it is just something that it's another thing that the defense has to account for. Like coach was saying, they already got to account for what's going on in the back end. They already got to account for what's going on with your running back. And now they got to deal with the fact that even if it is covered well, that this quarterback will get into his drop, get off that back foot and say, okay, I got to go and get up out of there. And I feel like him having that certainty to do that, it is helping your offense. Every little thing helps. Every little thing that a defense has to worry about is going to help your offense.
yeah. And to your point too about the coaching and knowing what to do, the balance, knowing when to take the shots, knowing when to run, and I, you guys know, Coach, you would know. I mean, you're a coach. I'm sure even with 44 points today, they're going to look back and say, man, we could have done this, we could have done that. So even as great as the offense is, they can still get better. I mean, this was the first game with CD back and Pickens together, and I mean, it's exciting to think about what that duo is going to be able to do over the course of the season.
Yeah, you could have got more out of the running game too if you hadn't had some of those holding penalties
Yeah,
early. There were quite a few holding penalties when they were trying to bounce it to the outside. Jadon Blue had a really nice run to the outside. Again, Dallas must have saw that the Bears really took it to Washington, attacking the edges. So they tried to do that, but the Dallas tackles just weren't clean enough getting out there in the run. And we saw, and it was really the receivers as well. I think there was a hold on CD. There was a hold on Tolbert. And so some of those big runs on the outside got called back. But so I think those are things that they are going to want back and want to clean up a little bit more. But I mean, you can be nitpicky, I'm sure, as a team, but let's be real here. You moved the ball efficiently pretty much all
yeah,
day and got almost everything you wanted on the back end of this defense.
Yeah, I mean, a new novel idea: get under center and run toss track.
See,
That'd make you go out there and clinic that. They'll start calling you a guru. You're a guru.
Wait,
What's called guru?
shut up. Wait. Okay, but I will say, Coach, do you think that Javonte Williams, we saw some of the cutbacks today. We saw some in like his quick feet when he's like trying to sift through tackles and stuff. But do you think that he is not a running back to me? That is a capture the edge running back. He can do it every now and then, but that's not his game. So
No,
I'm just wondering.
You're right. He is a downhill runner.
Yes.
Now, you saw him today jump cut because guess what? They cut loose 2 on the edge, and he jump cut and got it up in there. The other thing that I think they miss a little bit is that Miles Sanders was a patient guy. Mm-hmm. Running outside zone, it really takes a patient runner. Mm-hmm. And that means you got to continue to chase the hip of either the tackle or the tight end if you go to the strong side. And I mean, you really got to chase it. Mm-hmm. And then at the last minute, then you got to cut it up, and it's a feel thing and it's a see thing. Emmitt Smith hated that because the minute he saw color or the minute he saw a guy's helmet flash one way, his response was, man, I got to hit this thing north and south. I think that's what Williams is. He's a north and south runner. He's a downhill runner. And so when you try to run zone, and I'm talking about when you're handing the football and you got to really, like I said, your aiming point is to chase the outside hip of the tight end of the tackle. It's hard to do. And that's why you saw, back in the days when the Broncos were doing it, I mean, you saw multiple backs who really had patience doing that. And so I think that's a personnel thing. And I think it's you got to see it. I don't think, and I don't think Williams is that, and I certainly don't think that Blue's that. Blue doesn't want between the tackles. You can see he's an outside guy. He likes to get the ball on the swings. And he did take it on that toss crack, but Tolbert grabbed the guy, taking a bad angle. If you're going to crack the guy, you got to go crack the guy.
Yeah.
And so he took a bad angle, and then he had to hold, right? So all of those things, I think they'll get better at.
Yeah.
Especially because you're seeing the speed of the game more.
Yeah, I think that's something that if as the season goes on, as Blue gets more confidence, you get some better blocking on the outside, like Coach was talking about, then that's something you can add to this running game, is really being able to, when teams have weak edges, getting out there. If they got a secondary that doesn't come up and tackle well, then let's and then also too, when you go up against a defensive line that's really strong on the interior, what do? You make those guys chase you. So I do think that's an element of this run game that could stand to, have some improvement. And that's really how these outside zone runs, that's how Chicago killed them last week with Swift. So I was hoping that Dallas would kind of tap into it a little bit more. Like I said, we talked about it. They tried. It wasn't the cleanest. I do think that the tight ends also too have really improved in the blocking game. Brevin Spanford got to make sure I mention him. He got some nasty to him, and how he's able to be in line and really come up off the line and drive guys off of their spot. I think that even Schoonmaker, he's not really giving you much in the receiving game, but as a blocker, I do think that he and your other tight ends have really came together, and we've seen a better performance this year by far from them as a collective in the blocking game.
Yeah, it looked like they had some packages where Ferguson would go out and those two would come in specifically for blocking.
Yeah, you got to, and that's how they ran it in training camp. Or even from the times that I saw them in training camp, there would be a couple of guys working on more receiving things, and then they would take the other guys and they'd be working on a lot of the blocking technique and stuff like that. That's something that Connor Riley and Clayton Adams really emphasize when it comes to. Now, you want your tight ends to be able to block, but some of the things that they like to do, you got to have guys that are okay with getting their mouth bloodied a little bit. And so that's another improvement that I think has helped this run game in general, is that the tight ends to me have been far better in the blocking game. And I saw Pickens throw some good blocks today as well. So that speaks to some of the collective effort that we're seeing on the ground.
Yeah, you have to be willing. I mean, 9 times out of 10 as a tight end in the NFL, you are not going to beat an NFL defensive end. You're not going to beat him. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't tie him up. That doesn't mean that I can't fight him. That doesn't mean that I can't widen him, right? If we're running outside zone, it's his responsibility to set the edge. He's not going to let you hook him. The days of that are over with. But what I can do is I can fight with my outside, and I can try to widen him. And I can fight and widen him. And then all of a sudden, once I widen him to enough, then a good zone back will hit that. So those are things that you want to do. You want to have guys that are willing to go do it. And you're probably outweighed 40 pounds, a guy stronger than you are. But you know what? It's a want to, and you better, you got to have some shiva getter to go do it.
Yeah. Deron, somehow, some way. Oh, Lord, somehow, some way, when they got that safety, Deron Payne was somehow lined up on Schoonmaker, and he took his lunch, his breakfast, his dinner, his snacks. So we don't want to see that.
He should.
He absolutely should. That's correct, a mismatch nightmare.
So if that's a scheme that you have to think that you're going to put him on him, that's what you're going to get you. You're going to get you put special teams out there and get ready to kick the damn ball.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of special teams, I think Kavontae Turpin is still one thing about Washington they don't get enough love for, but their special teams punt coverage, kickoff coverage is one of the best in the NFL. They play it really well. We didn't get to see Cavante Turpin break out as much as he normally does today, but I thought he did a
It looked
decent
good,
job.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought he did a decent job. This was his first game back, so I think he still needs to settle in. I thought the coverage on punts was good today, and kicks was good today. Maris Leofau really set the tone with some of those hits, some of those tackles that he made before their returners were able to really turn up field, because they do have some pretty good returners. Luke McCaffrey, some of those guys, they were able to kind of really pin Washington back, and Washington really just could not drive the length of the field for the majority of the day. So I wanted to give some love to special teams and how they covered today against a really good special teams team.
All right. When we come back, I want to bring up a different angle that we have not hit on yet. This show is flying by, which is great. And one other note too about Jaden Blue. I think Jaden Blue. I'm telling you, he's going to have a big run. He's going to have a game. I don't know when it's going to be, but it's going to happen. He's going to keep getting better, and there's going to be that game where we're going to say, okay, there it is. All right, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Andrea. She is watching us right now live from Germany. It's like 2 a.m. there.
Ooh.
Andrea, much love to you. Thank you. And how about them Cowboys? Yeah, that's a fan right there. I mean, that's diehard. That's 2 a.m. in Germany. That's impressive. All right, when we come back, more of the Cowboys Squad Show. I want to talk to you about Mazda and what they're doing, because Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August of this year. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. And with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. So if you like our players, we sweat every detail. And because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, welcome back to the Cowboys Squad Show. Cowboys crushed the Commanders 44-22, the final score. So with this win today, the Cowboys are 3-1, but it's worth noting they're 2-0-1 at home so far. They have not lost at home. They had a tie, but they've scored at least 40 at home. And it's good to see that home field dominance kind of returning, and that could loom large later in the season as well. But got a little stretch here where you have an opportunity now, with hopefully some guys coming back, improvement with the defense, to get some wins and keep the pressure going in what's become kind of a bunched up NFC East right now.
No, that's a really good point, Jeff. Just about the way they've been playing at home. I think that the offense definitely feeds off of the crowd, I guess. And then obviously you have the defense that I felt like really fed off the crowd today as well. So,
Yeah.
Dallas has struggled. There's been instances where they're really good at home and they were terrible on the road, and vice versa. So for them to kind of finding ways to win some home games and hopefully some run games. They got run games, away games. They got this Denver game coming up. It's going to be big, and it's not an easy place to play in at all.
Very, very difficult place to play, and it's very. You better get ready for that mile high, because it is. I mean, it can jump on you. I mean, that's a really big deal. People don't talk about that much anymore, but I'm going to tell you something. There's a huge difference in that. And so, again, hopefully guys will be rolling in the game, and they'll be able to roll some guys in there in that situation. But winning is contagious, just like losing is contagious. All you have to do is look at the Cardinals. I mean, losing is contagious to the Cardinals. It's losing games and winning is contagious. And so you want to get on the other side of that. And so I don't care if you're playing at AT&T or Mile High or in Bemidji, Minnesota. Winning is contagious, and that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, Coach, you talked about the elevation. I mean, I don't even know if it's the same, but I know that when I was stationed in El Paso, that was one of the biggest things is like they told us when we first got there, they were like, hey, if you run your 2 mile fast, you're not going to run it fast today, just so you know. And I saw some of the best runners I've ever seen sucking wind and struggling. So, it's a real thing dealing with elevation and the changes in it and conditioning for it. And there's really no way for a team that plays, in somewhere like Dallas to condition themselves for it. This is something the coaches are going to have to be aware of and try, like you said, Coach, to make sure that they're rotating guys in and out and letting guys, and them oxygen tanks going to be getting used. You hear me? They're going to be over there like this, looking like Bane all week on Sunday. So I agree. I feel like them winning this game at home is really big. Coach, you talked about it being a confidence builder for the defense. And like we said on this show, Jeff, you've said it, Coach, you've said it. We're not asking the defense to be, just these world beaters. We're asking them to get some stops, to get some turnovers, and if this defense can do that and play like they did today and have some timely blitzes, some batted balls, get some stops, man, listen, yeah, this offense is very much so good enough to be able to score off of those turnovers and those instances, and they can start playing a little bit more complementary football, which is what we're looking for them to do moving forward.
Yeah. And Coach, what do you think? Back to something we talked about.
Hey, Jeff, what do you think?
What do you think?
No, I have a.
You want to tell me how that going quick? The show's going. You're over there. You ain't even talking about Rougier yet. That ain't be a good one going.
Who's Rougier? Who's that?
Well, no, one of them commercials he talks about.
Please.
No, my legit question is with this defense. We talked about it in the opening segment. How much, like you just said, Iisha, I mean, you don't want to have a game where they don't get any stops at all. They had some today, but how much can this mesh between the Eberflus system and a group of players that maybe not yet are ideal with his system, but how much can they grow and make it work and get better?
Here's the key. Just get me 3 critical stops in the game. That's really what I need. Critical stops in the football game. Don't tell me about 1 3 and out here, there. I need a critical stop. And maybe it's even 2 critical stops. They almost won last week with 1 critical stop in the
fourth quarter. Yeah.
So I need, with the offense I need 2 critical stops in the football game. And that's how I would challenge. That's how I would challenge those guys. I need 2 critical stops in the football game. And if you get that, that gives you a chance to win. I mean, I don't know if you saw Kansas City. I mean, with Rashee Rice out there and Xavier Worthy and the dude engaged to the singer, hell, he looks like he's been reborn all of a sudden because he's got 2 guys that are helping him not have to be the guy. And so what you want to point to is, give me a couple critical stops in these football games coming up. Detroit, Kansas City, Philadelphia again. I need a couple critical stops in those games and then continue to do like we talked about earlier, which is you got to challenge the offense every single week. They have to be challenged every week. I am not in any way, shape, form, or fashion telling you that we're not going to come on here another week and be going, daggone, they can't get no pass rush, because that's going to be the case. Mm-hmm. They're not changing out those guys. And so, hey, just get me a couple critical stops in the game, and we'll see where this ride takes us.
No, don't go too fast though, Coach. Trade deadline coming up. There's a couple of teams that's dead in the water. We don't know, and maybe Dallas does decide to do something, and add to this defense, or bring in another guy or 2 and see if they can take this defense to the next level. But if they don't do that, then guys have to play sound. You can't have stupid penalties. You can't have holding calls. You can't have, illegal contact calls. You got to be able to, get off the field on 3rd and longs and stuff like that. So I agree. Like when you talk about having critical stops, it's going to be up to Matt Eberflus, especially with where the pass rush is and it not being there consistently, even though Donovan Izaraku is getting better. I wish he had more of a running mate, but I do think he is improving as the season goes on. listen, yeah, you just get off the field sometimes and let your offense get back out there, because people don't want your off. That's the thing, is like, teams are playing keep away at this point. They don't want to see your offense on the field. Other teams know what's up when it comes to your offense. So you have to be aware of that as a defense and make them have to surrender in some way. You have to make them get off the field.
And Coach, how about this for the offense? Like, how about I know take us inside behind the curtain. I mean, I know it's probably so tempting when you have Dak and you have CD and you have Pickens and you have Ferguson, but boy, I would love to see like an 8-9 minute drive for the offense where they just rip the heart out of the other team by just completely doing whatever they want, imposing their will, running, passing, and just completely keeping the other team's offense off the field and helping the defense.
It's hard to do. It's hard to score.
Defenses make it hard now.
You're a baseball guy. How hard is it to score 7 or 8 runs if you're hitting singles and bunts? It's hard to do. Yeah. It's hard to do that. And so, you're at some point in a 9, 10 play, 11 play drive, promise you're going to have to overcome a penalty. You'll have to overcome a mental bust where somebody turns somebody loose now in the line and hollers, "Look out, here he comes." I mean, so you want, yes, I get what you're saying. You want to keep your defense on the sideline at times. Absolutely you do. You want to continue to convert on third down, which they're doing. And so I hear what you're saying, but guess what? When what you saw today was them just look over at Dan Quinn with his hat on backwards, and when they hit that deep shot to Lamb, I mean, he shook his head. He didn't have any answers. That's what you want to do. You saw Joe Witt up in the box, bang, and hurt his hand. Guess what? I don't think that table up there is going to go anywhere. And you hurt your hand because you got the red rear end. That's what you want to see. You want to see guys frustrated. You want to see guys throw. I'm waiting for one of them to throw that iPad and cost them about $500. That's kind of stuff I want to see. And then I'm going to point it out to our guys. Look at them over there. They don't have any answers. They don't know what to do. Now all of a sudden that becomes a confidence builder within the whole football team. That's what you want to do. And you're right. You want to keep the defense off the field at times. But guess what? I want to be able to hit a home run, and then when they think they get back in the football game, pow, you hit them again, and they're like, "Oh, we ain't got no answers here." And that's what you saw them do. They got back in the football game, then they hit the deep over to CD, and the game was over then. He knew the game was over then.
I am loving the way that this Cowboys team is finishing off the first half. I mean, I love the fact that they can. I mean, think about it. 40 seconds left today, and started with a sack for Dak, right? And then they had the Pickens play, the Javonte play, and then the Ferguson touchdown. Answering, the score from Washington. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, I think Shotty has done a good job at the end of these halves, kind of catching these defenses and playing soft because they don't think you're going to do anything because it's the end of the half. And he's like, no, actually, we're going to continue to be aggressive here. And so, Javonte Williams has had 2 long runs, to finish the half and set them up. This is the second time he's done that in the last 2 weeks. You got to be a bold guy to throw that, a deep pass to Pickens on the sideline, and Dak just dropped it in the bucket. You can't do it any better than that. The aggressiveness, and that's something, again, that coach was just talking about, is that the coach understands that the quarterback is aggressive and wants to pass the ball downfield. I think that this is the most I've seen Dak Prescott push the ball downfield this confidently. And I think the play caller realizes that that's something that they need to do as well, because to really threaten the defense, and we're seeing it more. But to your point, Jeff, I do think that you make a good point about them having some longer sustained drives. I think in this NFL, you need to be able to kind of do a little bit of both. You need to be explosive, and then you need to be able to work the clock when you need to be able to work the clock. And I think Dallas has shown that they can sustain some drives, and then they can also hit people in the mouth, like Coach was saying.
Well said. All right. Final timeout, our final segment and final thoughts coming up. Great to be with you. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. Right, got to give it up to FanDuel because the NFL season is here and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, we are back, the Cowboy Squad Show. Really quickly, Iisha, I want to mention one of our many commentators. Thank you, everybody, for all of your comments and for listening live and also later on. Delta Pisa MF says, Iisha, thank you for your service, one vet to another. And I thank you as well.
Of course, man. I didn't do nothing special, but thank you so much.
Amen. Amen. All right.
Of course.
All right. So final thoughts. So this Denver team, you know, they're getting better. They're growing. They're a young team. Bo Nix, Sean Payton, they fell behind big today at home to the Giants, came back and won last second. Defense is really good. They can make plays. Nix can run. And as we say, it's not a joke or a cliche. Whenever the Cowboys come to town, it's just a different game. It's going to be different today than it was today against the Giants.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood for Denver. I feel like every time the Cowboys go up there to play, it's always some shenanigans and foolishness that takes place. Coach, you mentioned Jeff, you mentioned Bo Nix, and he's such a wild card. I think that's what makes him one of the harder quarterbacks to play up against, is that he's so inconsistent. It's almost a good thing for him, if that makes sense. It's like you don't really know how to plan from him. You mentioned the mobility. He has a big arm. That Denver defense is always going to come to play. They're always going to have a pretty sound defense on that side of the ball. So it's not going to be an easy matchup, but I hope that Dallas can carry some of this momentum and continue to stay in the race in this division, because they're behind Philly right now. And I'm pretty sure this is the tougher stretch. This is going into the tougher stretch of the season for them. Hopefully they can carry this momentum into next week and continue to do what they're doing now.
Yeah, it'll be this will be I believe this will be the toughest taste.
I think he was going to say
I think their defense is better. Now, Iisha likes when I say the safety's last name, so I'm not going to say it. But at the end of the day, this is a really, really good defense. I mean, Vance Joseph is a really good defensive coordinator. They'll be in an odd front. Excuse me. They'll be in a 34 front. They're going to get you some. You have to have the ability to overcome. Here's the other thing. I know you talk about Nix, but every once in a while, he'll haul off and throw it to you too, and that's what needs to happen. You need to get him in one of those tight positions where, just like the day that you had Mariota, and he thought, "Oh, I got me an out here. I can sling this ball out here." No, not as fast. That's what you want to do, and so you just gotta keep the fight up, because this will be it'll be a 60-minute war, and it'll be a war where you can be out of breath. And it'll be a tough game, but I do look for Dallas to build on the momentum. Offensively, they're getting better. Guess what else they're getting? They're getting healthy. Now you want to see – I need to see Overshown come back in here before Mini-Me comes in here in about 2 weeks, and then, can give you some real problems. So that's what I want to see.
Oh, you talking about – wait. You talking about Kyler Murray? You talking about Kyler Murray?
You go to your church and I'll go to mine. You know who I'm talking about.
You going to jail. You can call this man Mini-Me. You going to jail. You hear me?
I'm going to jail?
Jail.
Jail? I've spent a few nights in the Crowbar Hilton. What's that? Ain't no big deal. I've had some
sure
powdered
right
eggs.
but
Don't
no,
bother me.
no, no. You're right.
Well-
no, I don't want to deal with his little shifty self either.
Well, hey, on a positive note, next week it's the return for Javonte Williams, which I'm hoping that will be huge. And how about Brandon Aubrey kicking at Mile High? Like, I mean, come on. I mean, that's got to be. We got to see a show. We got to see something.
No, we don't. I hope that we only see him kick extra points. You hear me?
Yeah.
I don't want him just out there just because once you get past the 50, he can go out there. We want the points. So it's exciting for Javonte, and I think I hadn't even thought about that, but he probably got a point to prove.
Oh yeah, I mean he's going to be sky high for that.
Mhm.
Mile High and Sky High, both at the same time. All right, well, Iisha, Coach, thank you, Coach. Have a great night tonight on TV. Iisha, when is your show coming up this week?
You can catch me on Girls Talk, Boys Talk at 8 a.m. Central Time. Me and the ladies will be breaking it down on DallasCowboys.com every day this week, and I'll get into the film a little bit more tomorrow afternoon.
All right, Coach, have a great night on TV. We'll do it again during the week. Thank you, as always. All right, final score today, Cowboys roll over the Commanders 44-22. Thank you again to everybody. Have a great week, and we will talk to you next weekend after the Mile High matchup. This has been the Cowboys Squad Show.